Huge breaking news. We spoke about this being bans because guess what? You've got a new centre-back. Deal agreed with Crystal Palace for the defender, Marc Guehi, the Crystal Palace captain. It's worth £35 million. He's now been given permission to undergo his medical, which is going to happen in London. But this, Bella, is a huge...
The real crucial point here is the player. And now Guehi has to decide, because the original plan for the defender has always been, let's move in the summer, complete the season at Palace, and then move in the summer transfer window. On a free is a better contract and the opportunity to decide whatever he wants in terms of new club. So to take his time, not having to negotiate club to club on anything. So it's on player side now to decide what he wants to do. Go to City immediately, or maybe wait for a different opportunity. With Liverpool and more clubs. Keen eventually. On Marc Guehi. So that's going to be a really big story in the upcoming days and weeks, with a decision expected soon by Marc Guehi together with his agents.
Right. This is a biggie. Chelsea want to sign the Crystal Palace captain and England centre-back Marc Guehi. They're looking for, you may remember, Newcastle tried desperately to sign Guehi last summer. They couldn't agree a fee with Crystal Palace, though. This is interesting. Guehi started his career at Chelsea before he went to Palace for £18 million in the summer of 2021. Another option for Chelsea is they could recall Trevor Chalobah from his loan at Crystal Palace. But how about that? Chelsea keen on signing the Crystal Palace and England centre-back Marc Guehi. Much more on that in the transfer show, which comes up right up.
Crookie, look, Chelsea's a bit of a debacle at the minute. What's going on?
Well, it was a shock in terms of the timing, but it wasn't a shock, was it? Because I think since Enzo Maresca came out and basically had a pop at his owners, the writing was on the wall. You've both been at football clubs. You know that when that happens, there's only going to be one winner. Obviously, results haven't been great either. One win in 7 in the Premier League. And there are definitely two sides to this story, because if you speak to people close to Chelsea, they'll say that actually it was the medical staff he was having a pop at, because they were telling him when to take players off, when players were ready to play. He would say actually it was the hierarchy who were interfering too much, and he didn't feel like he was getting the respect that he deserved. The truth is probably somewhere in between. But I've got to say, the reaction from Chelsea fans, almost universally on the side of Maresca. These owners have put themselves under big pressure now if this next appointment, and we think it's going to be Liam Rosenior, which is a massive gamble, someone who's not won that many games in the French league this season. If that goes badly...
Cookie, how are they getting on?
They're 7th, I think. In Ligue 1. I did see them play Palace in the Conference League and was quite impressed. And I know other Premier League clubs have kept a watching eye on Liam Rosenior. But
but now you're taking over Chelsea.
But this is where Chelsea are as a football club. You know, under Abramovich, they went for best in class in terms of managers. I don't think there's any question about that. Now they've got a team full of rookie players who they hope can increase their value, and therefore there's going to be this game of trading where they make a lot of profit. And they're doing the same with managers as well, aren't they? It's where managers come to learn. And that hasn't always been the way with Chelsea.
Managers come to learn.
That's what it feels like, no?
Alex, I was saying earlier, under Abramovich, they signed the best players.
Mm-hmm.
Ready-made.
And the best managers.
This is the difference between Maresca. They give him 35, 40 players in the summer. Mm-hmm. And went, go on, coach that lot.
Yep.
And you've got faces looking at you. And they're not just ordinary faces. That player there is the best player in Algeria. That player's the best player in Italy. They all think they're brilliant. And you've got to tell them they're not playing every week.
It's tough.
If you start losing games, they're all knocking your door. Try managing that. All multi-millionaires, all on 8-year contracts. How do you deal with that? It's not actually managing. You become like working in a nursery. You know,
listen, fair play to Liam Rosenior if he gets that job, but I'd be amazed if that works.
There don't seem to be too many other names in the frame. I put a couple out there yesterday. Roberto De Zerbi, I know Beardad Egbali, one of the owners, is a big fan of, but that isn't going to happen. Oliver Glasner has been ruled out because they don't want to change the playing style. They've built a squad to play in a certain way, and they don't believe that would translate. I mentioned Frank Lampard, and they said, no, he's doing a great job at Coventry. We're not going to rock the boat there mid-season. So the names aren't jumping off the page. Cesc Fabregas was another one that was discounted to me.
Who's in charge at Chelsea then? Who are they and what have they done? Todd Bowley. Who's the other one?
Beardad Egbali, but both independently wealthy.
So what's their line of work? What's their line of business? Are they just like property developers or?
Yeah, they're both multi-billionaires.
So
and obviously
I'm trying to work out
with a certain ego attached, but they've also got numerous sporting directors, the big two being Win Stanley and Stewart, and they're getting a lot of grief this morning as well from Chelsea fans.
So they sit down, obviously, with the owners and say, this is the style of football that we recommend we play from now on.
And they recommend the signings. Managers have very little say in who goes and, as importantly, who leaves, because one of the reasons Mauricio Pochettino left the football club was that he wasn't on board with the idea of getting rid of Conor Gallagher, which obviously didn't go down well with the hierarchy. So you need to be a certain type of manager, I think, to go and manage.
Well,
Chelsea
Liam Rosenior, I'm guessing they're bringing him in. He's willing to be that. He's a yes man. He's a yes man.
And I think Maresca was initially, and then
Maresca was, and
project.
and he gets fed up because he goes, hold on a minute, I'm a top manager now. I've won the Club World Cup. I beat PSG in a final.
Yeah,
I've won 2 trophies. I've got this team in the top 4.
They do think he had his head turned by the interest from Manchester City as well.
Well, that could be just paper talk.
Who's to say?
Pep's still the manager, isn't he? But
who's to say Pep Guardiola's not going to be the manager there next season? But I hear you, but I think he deserved a bit more respect, Maresca, to be honest. But
I tell you what you can say, though. It's not often that a manager leaves a football club, and whether he quit, whether he was sacked, whether it was mutual agreement, not often a manager leaves a club like Chelsea and their reputation has been enhanced. And I think certainly his reputation going out the door is arguably greater than when he went in.
Yeah, I agree.
I think everybody realises how difficult a job he's got. And by the way, it's like managing 33 multimillionaires with no power. You can't even say to them, I never signed you.
Yeah.
Someone else signed you.
Yeah.
He's told me to bring you off half-time, by the way, the owner. I can't tell.
So it does raise the question, is this going to become a bit of a poison chalice when it comes to Chelsea? If he does get the job, how long is Liam Rosenior even going to last? Obviously, Strasbourg owned by Chelsea. Yeah. So if they do take Liam Rosenior, they've also got to find a possible replacement for him in France. One name that's being touted this morning is someone who's doing very well at Cardiff. Brian Barry Murphy obviously got them to the top of League One.
Okay.
They're playing well.
Just on some transfers, Semenyo. How close is that?
Yeah, I was told last night an agreement in principle between Bournemouth and Manchester City. So I think this deal will get rubber stamped very soon. I think the contracts between the two clubs were being drafted as of yesterday afternoon. But it's a fascinating situation, isn't it? Because I spoke to Andoni Iraola after the game at Chelsea when Bournemouth played very well. And I said, is this realistically Semenyo's farewell? He said, no, he'll play against Arsenal. Okay. And I thought, well, will he? But actually, if you're Manchester City...
Yeah.
You probably want him to play in this game.
Well, you do, and you do and you don't, right?
To help them out in terms of the title.
You want him to play, but don't get injured.
Yeah.
He just got 2 assists, long throws.
He did.
Chelsea.
He did, absolutely. One more for West Ham fans. Well, they're being busy early in this window. They've got a deal in place for a striker from Portugal, Pablo. They're looking to get Adama Traore from Fulham, and they've agreed a fee for another forward, Lazio striker Tati Castellanos, €29 million plus add-ons. There's a medical... that is due to take place. I don't think that deal will get done in time for this weekend, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Raheem Sterling, there's a bit of talk of him as well.
Yeah, for West Ham. I think the issue there is that he wants to put down roots, so he's not particularly interested in joining anyone on loan. I think it would have to be a permanent deal.
Right.
Keep an eye on Fulham for Raheem Sterling as well.
Would you sign Traore?
Well, obviously Nuno knows him from Wolves. That's the connection, but I've got to say his numbers.
Yeah.
You never used to pick him.
They're not great, are they?
No, but what he is he's a player who can get you out of trouble when you if you need to get up the pitch, you need a ball carrier. You like to sit in, like Nuno likes to sit in and play a low block. You need runners.
They need pace in that team as well. They've got no pace.
I'd rather have Raheem Sterling than Traore.
Yeah, but Raheem Sterling, as you said, you don't know in wages or whatever. I don't think Adama Traore is a bad shout for West Ham. I think